Hey YouTube, thought I would make a video because I was, kind of looking at some of my old videos and thought I didn't quite go into depth, like, too well about, the algae in your fish tank, how to get rid of it. I didn't think I really gave too much, good detail of how to really diagnose and, get rid of it. But, I'll go over a few points. Like, there's a series of things that all algae needs, and it's basically the same as any plant in the world. One is light. They are photosynthetic. If you have extra light in there, like my mistake was that I was using CFLs, like what you'd use in your house, like compact fluorescent light bulbs, and they made the fish look amazing, like the colors and everything, but there was just too much light. I was thinking, oh yeah, the extra light would help the plants, the live plants that I had in there, but it was just too much. I just didn't have enough plants to outcompete the algae. Another thing you want to keep in mind is like your water quality. High ammonia levels, high nitrite levels, and high nitrate levels are all like indicators that you're gonna, like, you either have an algae problem or you're gonna have it soon. So like nitrates and ammonia, high ammonia levels, like, that's just saying, oh yeah, you're stressing out your fish, but pretty soon it's going to turn into a bad algae problem. Yeah, and I remember in the last video I included species that eat algae, and that's really not the way of going about it, because like, people think, oh yeah, I'll just throw some of those in there and it fixes all my problems, but no, you need to keep an eye on your water quality, because algae is nature's way of balancing out the system. It's basically saying, hey, there's way too much nutrients in this system for the current amount of fish and plants, so it's just going to balance itself out, or try to. Unfortunately, in the process, it looks like crap. But I'll go over the ways that I got rid of it. First thing off, I changed back to normal aquarium lights and got rid of the CFLs. They were just not necessary for the system, and the algae was just going out of control. And then after that, I, like, as you can see in my old video, like, I had a carpet of algae going on along the bottom of my substrate. And basically I took all my fish out of the tank, put them in the quarantine tank, left them in there for a few days, and just did a major cleanup. Took all live plants out and then rinsed them out in the faucet, got all the algae off of them, and did all that, and basically got as much of that algae as I could out of the substrate and off of the glass and everything, because the little magnetic scrubber that I had wasn't quite doing the trick. This stuff was like gnarly industrial, like, grade stuff, and basically after I did that, I did a couple of water changes, like about a 50% water change. After I got everything all scrubbed and stuff, got as much as that algae and stuff that I had floating around the tank from my cleaning out as I could, I reintroduced the fish, and for the past couple of weeks I was doing like 50% water changes. And along with that, it was about the second week of me doing the 50% water changes, and I introduced some snails in there to help eat the leftovers of algae and stuff. They were golden apple snails, and they just started doing great in there. They got humongous, like, There's no real good way to explain it other than that. They just hit their little growth spurt and just started munching down on everything. And now I still have algae in there, but it's not nearly to the extent that it was, which is great. And I'm kind of making a rule of it that every time I'm going to add some new fish, I'm also going to add some new plants, or try to, you know. Also add fish slowly. That's a good way of going about it. Like, you don't want to add like 3 or 4 fish at a time, and you really want to ideally go for adding about 1 fish at a time. And make sure, like, in the smallest amount of changes that you can do to your system, the better, to help you maintain like your system's balance. You can get that. And now I just do like the normal, like, 20% water change instead of 50% now that I got all the algae under control, and it seems to be doing great. I also added some new plants. I got some Anubias in there, which is kind of a slow growing plant. It doesn't really get rid of too much of the nitrates, but that's just the basic stuff. I thought it looked nice, so. But it's growing in there. It put out a couple of new leaves and stuff, and it's growing along its God, what's the word for it? I think it's a rhizome. I'm not an expert on the plants, but it's putting out some new leaves and stuff, so it seems to be doing alright in there. And also, the Cory cat loves it. The emerald green Cory cat that I have in there. I was thinking about buying him a buddy for my next fish. That way he has some company. The guppies have company, but he doesn't really. And, yeah, but for that 10-gallon tank, 3 apple snails basically just take everything, like, they handle everything pretty good. Also, what I also like about them is that, occasionally they like to munch on leftover fish food on the bottom. So, they also help to keep the tank clean and not leave any leftover debris around, which helps, keep my tank balanced. Yeah, what did I'm trying to think if I missed anything. But, no, that's pretty much it. Just you need to keep in mind what the algae needs to grow and do the exact opposite. 1, they need high amounts of light. 2, they need lots of nitrates in the water, which should be your first telltale sign. Like, you might not even need to change your lights. That's just an extra, like, insurance. Like if you just do like 50% water changes for a while until you get everything under control, without the proper amount of nutrients, it just won't be able to grow. Yeah, just, basically, if you have large amounts of algae in your system, it's saying, hey, this sucker's out of balance. So, guys, oh yeah, and if you're wondering how to check, I know this is kind of elementary, so to speak, but if you guys are pretty new to it and you don't know how to test your water, you could go to the store and buy some a test kit. Some of them are like the little strips, like that actually look like pH strips or something. You dip them in the water and you take them out and you compare them to a color chart. Or there's the other kind where the more professional, which I prefer, is a chemical kit where you put the water into a little container and you put drips of chemicals in it and it'll turn a different color depending on what it is. And or if you're feeling cheap about it, lots of stores such as Petco and PetSmart, you can just take a sample of your own aquarium water into there and they will test it for you for free. or at least from what I understand, it's free. Uh, yeah, I think I covered just about everything now on algae, how to get rid of it, and what causes it. So, alright guys, please rate, comment, and subscribe.